Мені звати Тамара Рогозина, я художниця, приїхала із Києва.
Through my art, I can express the war and how horrible it is. It is probably the most horrible thing in the world for us Ukrainians, but also for each person in the world. It is a horrifying thing, and we cannot get used to it. We cannot stop talking about it until the victory.
You need the voice. Everybody needs a voice. You don't have to be a politician to support the Ukrainians. You just have to be human.
We can't be silent until victory. Well, my coming to Sweden in 2014 was a dream come true. I studied Swedish in Scandinavian Gymnasium in Kyiv, then did a lot of student exchange programs and a summer school in Uppsala in 2012. So I had a dream to come to Sweden and do my master's degree here. And that's what happened. And that was 2 days after my grandparents had to escape the war in Donbass in August 2014. And since then, I've been working here, business marketing, a lot of corporate jobs and social entrepreneurship. And now I'm working at a global NGO. That's how life had been before February 24th, 2022. Nobody in the world believed that Ukraine would prevail, and they thought it would, be finished in 3 days. You hear all of that in media, and you see pictures of 60 kilometers of Russian tanks outside Kyiv, and it's just the fear of losing everyone you love. Every night I was with my mom on Viber the entire night, because I didn't want to wake up to some bad news. So I was like, okay, I would rather I would rather us be on Viber together, and I can always look if you're still online or not. And then one morning, it was third day, I heard the explosion, and then I was like, mom, and she didn't answer. So I thought that maybe I dreamt about it. Then I heard my dad's voice, and they were talking, and I was like, yeah, it was an explosion. And since then, also my mom's studio got ruined in Kyiv. That's very close to where my father lived, and my sister with her husband. But then my mother and my sister came here, and sister now came back to Kyiv, but mom is here with her exhibit. First reaction was possibility to realize what was going on, how surreal it all was. At the first time, the beginning of the war, I was completely unable, and I didn't want to depict the horrors of the war. But I've always had a lot of faith in Ukraine continuing, and Ukraine fighting, and in Ukraine winning, that Ukraine was, is, and will be. And the main statement of this exhibition is that we're impossible to defeat, that we're unbreakable, and that we will win. This exhibition was planned more than a year ago, and the idea was to exhibit flowers and other types of art that I've been doing before. Little did I know that the whole concept of the exhibition would be turned around, just as my life was turned around, and how it's been for millions of Ukrainians. So I used this space to promote peace for Ukraine, to talk about what's happening, what Russia is doing to Ukraine. And there is no other way how I would have done this, because that's what's been in my heart, being in pain for what's happening in my beloved Ukraine. From the first days here, I've been involved with volunteers. I made friends with a lot of Ukrainians and Swedes volunteering here, especially ones involving kids in all kinds of activities, lessons, and especially, of course, what's my specialty, that's teaching art. I had an art studio in Kyiv that is now ruined, but I continue doing the same things here, teaching to Ukrainian kids and actually also Swedes and kids of other nationalities. That's what I love to do. And during the summer, I've also been involved with an organization called SWAN, Swedish Artist Network, that allowed us Ukrainian artists to create art in residency in Konstnärskollektiv Verkstad on Farsta Strand, and that's been a great place to be doing art here in Sweden and a place to go to and connect to Swedish artists. The world seems to be calming down in the media field in terms of what's happening in Ukraine, in terms of reporting of the news from Ukraine, as well as when it comes to international aid to Ukraine. It seems to be, unfortunately, more of a norm now, and we cannot let this happen.
I'm from Syria, and I came as a refugee with my family in the beginning of 2013. Thankful I came with my family at that time, because so many people has lost their loved ones, their families, their cousins, the dearest one nearby them. And I'm here to appreciate and support how important it is to speak about wars and the criminality that's going on there in several countries there, especially in Ukraine.
I could tell you a little bit about a few key paintings. Glory to Ukraine is the second painting of this manner. The first one was sold in our common exhibition in April, common with other Swedish artists, done also here in the same gallery, Gallery Darling. And all proceeds went to volunteers running refugee hostels in Zaporizhia for people from Mariupol. And the theme is the same, it's strength of Ukrainian spirit, strength of human spirit, and faith in beautiful future. These are three journalists who are among tens of thousands of people killed by Russia since February 24th, 2022. We were, we are, and will be Ukrainian strength. In this painting, Tamara tried to show resilience, strength, and spirit and unity of her people at the time when all Ukrainians are being tested. She wanted to express her position. She thinks that focusing on the spiritual connection, you can also find the way to your own home and your own way into the future. The painting has Cossack motifs that also has to do with Ukrainian spiritual sources that Ukrainians remember and are proud of. The blue way going along in the middle of the painting is the bright path into the future. Shooting Down Freedom, Part 1. The painting consists of two parts. The one on top shows how Russians brutally destroy Ukrainian cities in Donbass with the Solntsepek flamethrower system. The one on the bottom shows explosions of Russian phosphorus bombs. It is impossible to be different to this. Stop the war. Chaos. The painting depicts Tamara's feelings from the first month of the war. Fear and anxiety. Impossibility to grasp that Russian aircraft are bombing her land, that Russian soldiers are torturing her people, loot and ruin homes, destroy cities. Millions of people in search for a refuge. Children crying. Families, homes are abandoned. And there doesn't seem to be end to this. You want to run and scream, help. Myself, I've been involved with many different cultural, humanitarian volunteer initiatives since half a year back. Just like many Ukrainians in Sweden, you become a volunteer aside from whatever you are doing for work because you care so much about helping your country. And so with that note, there has been so many organizations popping up here in Sweden, and we've been arranging concerts, exhibitions, and 2 days ago we had a big day, Ukraine's Independence Day, 31st officially, and a culmination of thousands of years of Ukrainian history and fighting for freedom, which is especially important now when we have to prove over and over again that it's our land and we have a right to decide our own future. So through many different means, people here have been showing that the war is going on and that it needs to stop.